Broadcasting from Meredith Hall Studios, you're listening to Covering the Field Sports Show, featuring sports analysts Big Rich Martin, Rockin, Ronnie McKinnon, Gator Gates. And now here's your host, Joe the Answer Ellison.
Welcome, everyone. First up in covering the NBA is our analyst, Big Richard Martin. How are you doing today?
Doing great. We're in the finals, Joe. Can't get any better. 1-1. Can't believe it.
Yes, the NBA Finals tied at 1 game apiece. Game 3 is tonight. What's happened so far between Golden State and Boston?
Well, we put our analytics out last week, Joe. We talked about how Golden Boys at Golden State are so prominent at home, and the Road Warriors Celtics are great on the road. So something had to give. Game 1, it sure gave. So game 1, the Warriors are up 15 in the second half. Of course, that was my pick. I gave the 3.5. I was so proud of myself. I tore my rotator cuff trying to pat myself on the back, thinking it was such a great pick. And they're up by 15 in the second half in the fourth quarter. What happened? A 17-0 run by the Celtics. They were supposed to fold being on the road. They were not sleeping in their bed. They were on the road. 2 straight 7-game series. You think that they were going to run out of gas, and what do? They prove us all wrong. They prove the analytics wrong. They shoot 51.2% from three-point line. How do they do that? They make a 17-0 run, and it seemed like Splash Brothers couldn't splash anything. Al Horford was awesome. He had 26 points, and he was 6 for 8 from the three-point line, and that's pretty hard to beat a team that's shooting 51.2% from three-point line.
Yeah, well, everyone I know bet on Golden State. I think everybody had them, not just you. It seemed like, yes, the rest factor. Boston just played the 7th game against Miami like 2 days before. So it's forgivable, I guess, to join everybody else.
It was heartbreaking, Joe. It was heartbreaking.
Yes. But they did Boston outscored the Warriors 40-16 in the fourth quarter. And if that sounds like a lot to you, you're right. It's the biggest point differential in a fourth quarter in NBA Finals history. That's how big of a blow up that Golden State did.
How in the halibut did that happen? I don't know. I thought I for sure had to win. I was already standing in line to cash my ticket.
Yeah.
No go.
Yeah, that last 6 minutes was horrible for Golden State.
Yeah, but I mean, let's give the Celtics some credit. I mean, wow, they just came out there and they said, hey, no one thought we were going to win. And they were surprising. They were stunning. They were terrific. And let's give them some credit for that Game 1 win.
And then there was Game 2.
And the Empire strikes back. The Golden Boys showed up. They were up by 2 by halftime, and me and my good friend Joe saw that third quarter spread. So Golden State always covers that third quarter. Made a bet. I think we were dropped 3.5, didn't we?
Yeah, they would have to be leading by 3.5 at the end of the third quarter.
And were they winning by 3.5 by the end of the third quarter? They were dominant in the third quarter, 35-14.
Yeah, they were up by 2 at halftime, and by the end of the third quarter, they were up by 23. Then they scored the first 6 points of the fourth, and the game was obviously finished at that point.
Yeah, it was finished, but we have to put a shout out to a future of your You Got Host segment. We were watching it on our producer's cell phone because we couldn't see it on the TV screen. Luckily that we had Yvonne Boo Boo the Bomb bring her 1976 Farrah Fawcett sunglasses, and we were able to set it up on a pizza box. We looked like we were about six people ice fishing in a hole trying to watch this game. But I'm telling you what, it was a great game, and we're going to do it again tonight. We're going to watch on the cell phone.
I think they actually got the TV back, but that is my You Got Host segment. That's a little preview, but we'll get to that later.
We'll save that for later. But man, I'm telling you, what a game to watch. I think Golden State proved to everybody that they're not going to fold. They are. They've been in the final 6 out of the last 8 years, and they sure look like that experience came through in Game 2, and I'm looking forward to Game 3.
Right. So, Big Rich, what do you expect in Game 3 tonight, and what do you expect during the rest of the series?
Well, let's start with Game 3. I mean, Clay's got to play if you want to bring that Larry O'Brien trophy back to the Bay. He's shot terrible in Games 1 and 2. He was 1 for 8 in Game 2 in three-point land. He was 3 for 7, but he's only shooting, 20% from the line. That's what he normally does, shoot from the field 20% in his first 2 games. I see him bounce back. If we look at Game 3 on the analytics of it, all right, the Warriors are 3-0 in Game 3s. Okay, they went to Denver. They dropped Denver out their game 3 loss. They won 118-113. Our boy Thompson, he shot 26 points. He was 3 for 16 from 3-point land. So let's go to the next series. Game 3, they're at home this time against Memphis. Thompson drops 21. He goes 4 from 6 from 3-point line. So it seems like he has a good game 3 consistency, playing great in game 3. In Dallas, he had 19 points, but he only shot 3 from 10. But Wiggins covered him, and he shot 11 from 20 on 3-point line. So the Warriors love game 3. They love to shoot the 3 ball. Boston is 0-8 when they turn the ball over 15 times in a game, and that seems to be their threshold point. So that's something to watch in game 3. If they go over 15 turnovers, I'm going to take the money line. I'm going to take the Warriors.
Yeah, I'm also taking the money line in game 3. Golden State has a road win in 26 straight series, which is totally impossible to believe, but it's true. So I'm expecting a split because whoever wins game 3 is going to lose game 4, the way I look at it.
Well, the analytics show that, Joe, but they just showed analytics not always true. But I think it's going to be a split also. I think we're going to be 2-2 going back to Golden State.
Right. Warriors 3-4 on the road in the playoffs. Boston 5-4 at home. Both very mediocre.
Right.
So, and little history. A game 3 winner in a 1-1 series wins 82% of NBA finals. So that's going to be a pivotal one, more than likely. And
well, that's even bigger than the 70% on game 5. So game 3 is bigger for the finals.
In game 1 winner in an NBA finals, which Boston won it, wins 71% of the time.
Okay, so Boston on their game 3s, they're 1-2. They dropped 2 games, and the only game that they did win, they were at home. So they had both road losses.
Yeah. And of course, the Warriors will need Draymond Green to stay on the floor.
Right.
Already had a technical.
Yep, that was our take or fake last week. We said he's going to go over. The spread was he has over 1.5, so he has 1. He decided to use Brown as a footrest. He didn't seem that he cared for that very often, and I don't think anybody would. And but that's what he does. He gets in your head. He plays great defense. Tries to get you out of your game.
Right. And what did you predict for the NBA Finals? I think you had Golden State in 6.
That's exactly what I had, Golden State in 6, and I'm going to stick with that. It might go Game 7, but I don't see it going. I don't see someone winning 3 straight.
Right. I also got Golden State in 6. We're going to take the money line Game 3. Hey, if the Warriors lose, we might get money line again in Game 4.
Game 4, yeah. So if you lose the money line tonight, you just double it up, and you're probably going to break even if that happens.
And we're going to keep betting on Golden State in the third quarter, I would assume.
I think we'll make that walk up there together again tonight, Joe. I think we're going to make that third quarter bet again. I'm in.
I got a feeling on that. And probably in play, Boston in the fourth quarter. They will probably come back, make the game closer, or even win it, perhaps. Because Golden
you can
State
hedge your bet if they're up. That's good. Yeah, you can hedge your bet and take Boston.
So one final NBA note: the Los Angeles Lakers signed Darvin Ham as their new head coach. What are your thoughts on that hire?
I mean, can we just stop talking about the Lakers?
Well,
they're
my favorite,
horrible.
It's my favorite team.
I know but everybody still wants to talk about the Lakers. They're getting more publicity than Boston and Golden State just because they hire a coach. They were horrible last year. Russell Westbrook was absolutely a terrible decision to bring him on board. They couldn't dump his salary. They're going to have to suck next year. They're going to have to suck up a salary and suck up being horrible again. So I think that they're going to have to make some big moves. But I think the coach is good. He's a player's coach. Actually, he played against LeBron in his rookie year, so he actually, he's a player's coach, and I think that's what they're going to need. But we all know that LeBron's running that team on the court, off the court, in the locker room. LeBron's running the show.
Well, yeah, Ham has never been a head coach in the NBA, but from what I can see, I think they're going to play better defense. I think that was the biggest problem. Well, sure, they could score some points, but they didn't try hard on the other end of the floor. So I think he's going to make them accountable for that.
Well, you have to keep AD on the floor. That's the big problem. Right. LeBron and AD are getting up there in age, and we call AD street clothes for no reason because he's in street clothes more than he's in basketball clothes. So if they retire his jersey, it's going to be a street jersey, his shirt that he wears on the sidelines.
Terrific job, Big Rich. Covering hockey is our next guest, Gator Gates, and sitting in with him is Big Richard Martin. How are things going today, Gator?
Oh, I'm fantastic, Joe. Having a great time.
When we left off last week in the Western Conference Finals, Colorado had just beaten Edmonton in Game 1, 8-6. What happened after that?
Okay, well, Game 2 was Thursday, Joe, and Avalanche actually won 4-0, and Pavel Francouz got his second playoff shutout in that game. And Nazem Kadri, he also got 3 assists, Joe, into a span of 2 minutes and 4 seconds.
4-0 total domination in that game, and then Game 3 came up.
Yeah, in Game 3, Connor McDavid for Edmonton scored 38 seconds into the game. But, Joe, what happened after that, 28 seconds after that goal, Evander Kane got a 5-minute penalty for boarding Kadri, which was a dumb penalty, Joe. Very stupid. I mean, look, Colorado's up 2-0 in the series. You finally get a goal 38 seconds in, and then you go and you give the momentum right back to them if they score, which they didn't, Joe. They didn't score on that, but, geez, I just think that was a dumb penalty.
Going to say he's done a lot of dumb things, Kane, like betting all his money and having casinos suing him for some of the money back, and his wife leaving him, and not taking the shot, and saying that he did take the shot and getting a 20-game suspension for that.
Well, it was just a horrible penalty, don't you think? I mean, it was a 5-minute major, and he also got suspended for Game 4.
Yeah, and then he goes into the penalty box for Richard, shaking his head like he didn't do anything.
Yeah, he just pushed him in the back down, and now Kadri can't play Game 4, and he's questionable for the Stanley Cup.
Another thing about this guy, he did have 2 hat tricks in the playoffs this year, and you go and do that. It just amazes me, Joe. Amazes me. That's why I wouldn't have him on my team.
Well, just like Joe says, hockey players fight good, and sometimes they don't behave well.
Yeah, I guess so. Just gotta be a little smart.
Yeah, and that was Colorado winning 4-2, an empty netter at the end of that game, and then Game 4.
Oh yeah, in Game 4, we didn't have Evander Kane. He was suspended, and Kadri was out for the whole series, but it did end up 6-5 in overtime. Yeah, the biggest thing that I see as stat-wise, Joe, is that Avalanche had 2 power plays, and they scored on both of them, where Edmonton had 5 power plays and only scored on 1. But both goalies had the exact same save percentages at .857. So those are the 2 stats that kind of stuck out at me.
Yeah, well, Edmonton was up 4-2 going into that last period. It looks like we were going to maybe see a Game 5, but as we've mentioned, a 2-goal lead going into the last period is the most dangerous lead, and it happened again. Colorado scored 3 goals. Edmonton sent it to OT, and Colorado won 6-5. They scored 4 goals in about 12 minutes.
Yeah, and McCarr's the one that scored that last goal, Joe, who was a tip, and McCarr's been playing excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, well, I'm going to also factor in Edmonton's poor goaltending. Colorado scored 4 goals or more in each game. So that's not going to get it done.
No.
Although one was an empty netter to make it 4-2, so, you know.
Well, thanks for having me be on the show with you guys, because I can give a little bit of love for the Colorado Avalanche. I know we have a lot of Avalanche listeners, and I've been to multiple Stanley Cup playoff games, and I thought the Avalanche have the best home ice advantage. Its place is electric and rocking. But watching Edmonton, their fans are amazing. They just love their team. They were good, and after they lost, I thought it was just such a great. There was not an empty seat out there after the loss, and they were still there cheering their team on and thanking them for a great season. Great fans. Shout out to Edmonton. You're doing great.
The thing that I noticed being live, Rich, is when you're watching on TV, the team is not as fast as when you're live. When you're live, you really appreciate on how fast everything is going. DB doesn't do it any
especially with
justice.
McDivitt and McKinnon out there. I mean, you don't get any faster than those two.
Oh, God, yeah. You don't blink.
Yeah, Edmonton, certainly great fans, and I guess the best team in Canada because they were the longest to last. And
That's right, and I did pick that, Joe. I said at the beginning of the year, it's not Toronto. Every year they always say Toronto's this, Toronto's... No, Edmonton's the best by far.
Yeah, well, Toronto might have been until the playoffs start. They haven't won a playoff series in 18 years.
Well, they say it every year, Joe.
Yeah.
They're going to have to prove it.
Yes. So I kind of feel sorry for Canada as a whole. There goes the last team again for their sport. No more "Oh Canada" being sung. Nice catchy tune, little catchier than the U.S. national anthem, if I dare say.
I like it as well, Joe.
And when I hear "O Canada," I think hockey immediately.
Well,
And
the next time you guys will be hearing that is be in the Canadian Football League.
that's starting up pretty soon.
Yeah, they didn't go on strike, thank God.
No, they didn't. Now, in the East, we have Tampa Bay and the New York Rangers deadlocked at 2 wins each. What has occurred in the first 4 games?
Well, Joe, in the first game, Tampa Bay came out rusty, like we kind of predicted. Rangers won 6-2. But what I liked about this game, Joe, is that on the last show I was saying if you're going to beat Vasilevsky, you got to get him moving from post to post, and the Rangers sure did that. But they also showed me something that I didn't notice, and that on his gloves, on his stick side, blocker side, they were scoring those goals, Joe.
Yeah, you totally called that game. You said the Rangers would win it, and they certainly did. And they kicked their butts, pretty much. And they only had 1 day off, and Tampa Bay had like 8 days off.
Correct.
Something to remember for the future. And we went on to Game 2.
And Game 2 was kind of the same thing where Tampa Bay was still looking sluggish, but the score was a little tighter. It was Rangers 3 and Tampa Bay 2. But I want to read you a quote from Steven Stamkos. He said, and I quote, "We haven't executed the proper way," unquote. And he was talking about both games, Joe. But the last time that the Tampa Bay lost consecutive games was 3 years ago, Joe.
Right.
In the playoffs,
Yes.
games.
Vasilevsky had been an amazing 18-0 after a loss in the last 3 years. The Lightning were 9-0 in their last 9 Game 2s. If you went by that, and I did, you got hosed because New York won 3-2. Although the Lightning did show some spark late, and you're right about the blocker side, and that's where they were scoring.
Yeah, it was amazing. I think the Avalanche. We'll be looking at that, I'm sure, Big Richard.
Better than giving it up in the 5-hole, though.
Right. So I'll give you guys a sink or swim on this. Talking about the good goalies, right? I mean, both of the East definitely has an advantage on the goalies. I mean, there's no argument there.
No argument for me.
Okay, you got Andrei Vasilevsky. Excuse my Russian if I said that wrong, but he's 39-18 with a .916 save percentage and 2.49 goals per game. And then Igor Shesterkin is better than him, obviously, and he's 36-13-4, with a .935 save percentage and only giving up 2.07. So a little bit of advantage for the Rangers goalie, but both very good. So sink or swim. Good goalie beats good offense.
So sink or swim.
Sink or swim.
Good goalies beat good offense. I'm going to swim. And the reason is because we'll just take the Avalanche.
Exactly.
Their offense has been great since day one. Now their defense and goaltender, especially after Patrick Waugh, was kind of iffy. Where's it gotten them lately? I'm talking about lately. They're getting out in the second round. So what did the Avalanche do? They went out and got defensive guys. And that just proved that they. So I don't know. I don't know how Joe feels, but I'm going to have to take swim. I think offense sells tickets, defense wins championships.
I am in agreement. Swim, because a good goaltender can win a game basically by himself.
And
it doesn't matter
several times.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how many shots you put on net. It has to go across the line.
Right.
And goaltender is the most important position in all of sports. And so I'm going to have to definitely say swim on that.
A very good question.
Okay, and another one, Gator. I'm just going to end it with this. Okay. For our betting audience out there, puck line. Okay, you're totally against the puck line, right? Is it better?
Yeah. Yes. Yes,
if you're gonna make a wager, you're better off picking the team you think's gonna win, and don't take the puck line like I did, thinking that the Rangers goalie was going to be good, and I just said I figured it'd be a 1-goal game, so I took the puck line. I took the Rangers in the puck line, and they lost 4-1.
All I can say is a lot of people think they're going to pull their goalie, so that's a free goal, and that kicks you in the butt every time. Not every time, but enough.
You're betting on the empty netter.
You know, well, I always want to be in the 60% range,
right.
And if you're starting to bet money line, puck lines, run lines, it's just harder to get to that 60% range.
That's great, Gator, and that's why you're 70% on the show.
Thank you.
Right, and just quickly, Game 3, the Rangers were up 2-0, but Tampa Bay ended up winning 3-2. They scored a goal with 42 seconds left. So Vasilevsky is now 19-1 after a loss in the playoffs in the last 3 years, which is still pretty amazing. And as Rich said, Game 4, Tampa Bay dominated and won 4-1. And the last time a conference final had the home team win the first 4 games was all the way back in 1991.
Wow, Joe.
Yeah, so kind of a surprise that that's happened. So, Gator, what do you expect during the rest of this series?
Well, I think Tampa Bay woke up, and I think that they will win this series. Not to say that, like we were talking about, you get a hot goalie, they can win it for you. Igor Shesterkin should be that goalie, and he probably could be that goalie. I just think Tampa Bay's got the better team. I don't see him winning the Stanley Cup, though, Joe. I see Colorado winning it. I think they're on a mission. And I kind of hope that it comes down to be Tampa Bay. You want to be the best, beat the best.
That's the series people are looking for. What do you think, Big Rich?
I'm going to have to go against the Gator on this one. I'm going to go with the Rangers. I think when the Rangers are in, I think it's a better. New York needs to have somebody up there doing something in the finals, and I think the Rangers is good for hockey. So just my heartfelt, not really a the sensible bet of exactly as Tampa Bay. They're 2-time champions. But the Rangers are tough at home, right, Joe? I mean, have they lost a home game yet?
Just the very first one to Pittsburgh, and that took triple overtime. And they won all the rest of them.
And they do have home ice advantage, so I'm going to just stick with the analytics on that.
I agree with Big Richard that it would be very good for the ratings if the Rangers would be there. I agree with that.
Right.
Okay,
It would be very great.
Both goalies are excellent. The last 3 games have gone under, only 5 goals. I'm going to continue taking the under. I picked Tampa Bay in 6 before the series started. That means I'd have to win 4 in a row, but I'm going to stick with that. And when it comes down to it, Vasilevsky has given up 1 goal total, as we mentioned earlier. 1 goal total in his last 7 series deciding games. So when it really comes down to it, he usually shows up, like every time. Incidentally, I should mention, there's a Justin Bieber concert scheduled the same night at Madison Square Garden as the potential Game 7, but Bieber will understand if he has to reschedule. He's from Canada and not only loves hockey, but plays it well too.
All right, well, maybe we'll get a 2-for-1. Get a hockey game and a concert.
There you go.
Excellent work, Gator.
Thank you.
And Big Rich. Joining Gator Gates to preview horse racing's Belmont Stakes is Rockin' Ronnie McKinnon. Ronnie, tell us a little about the Belmont.
Joe, thanks for having me. Gator, how you doing today?
I'm all right.
Right on. We're gonna Saturday. It'll be 3:45 our time at Belmont Park in New York, and this is a 1.5 miles. It's a $1.5 million purse. We have 8 horses in there. Rich Strike is back racing again, and will be number 4 going right now at 7-2. We also have We the People right now going off as the favorite at 2-1 right now. Obviously things will change before Saturday. Skippy Lawnstocking is 20-1. Nest is 8-1. Creative Minister 6-1. Mo Donegal 7-2. It was 5-2. That went up a little already. And there's Golden Glider at 20-1 and Barber Road at 10-1. Right now, that's what the odds are, and we will again. It'll be Saturday afternoon. This is the 3rd jewel of the Triple Crown, the Belmont Stakes. So,
yeah, the Belmont, the longest of the 3 Triple Crown races, as you said, the 1.5 miles, and everybody's happy to see Rich Strike back, the 80-1 shot of the winner of the Kentucky Derby.
Yep, it'll be exciting to see.
And we have 5 of the 8 horses ran in either the Derby or the Preakness, and we have 3 newbies in there.
Correct.
So, Gator, what are your picks for the Belmont?
Okay, Joe. Well, when I'm looking at handicapping these horses, I'm trying to find a horse that I think is going to come in 1st or 2nd. And I think that horse is going to be Mo Donegal. That's Todd Pletcher's horse, and it has Irad Ortiz on it. And without having Bob Baffert or Steve Asmussen, I think that Pletcher's going to have that either 1st or 2nd. So then so that's my key horse. So then I want to string 2 horses behind it, and I'm going to go with number 5, Creative Minister. He's at 6-1 right now. And I'm also going to go with Barber Road, and he's at 10-1 with Joel Rosario, riding him.
Jockey.
Exactly. So I don't expect to get those odds on.
Sure.
But when I'm handicapping these, Joe, I really don't look at the morning line odds. To me, it's one guy. After the draw, the morning lines come out, and that's one guy that's going off of that. And of course, he gets paid, and he does well. But
these will change a lot.
These will change a lot. So I try not to even look at them. If you're handicapping and you see a horse and then you like it and you see that it's 40-1, you're not going to bet it. And then what happens? That horse comes in and wins. It happens a lot. So just because everybody else thinks it's going to win, if you like it, I say play it.
Right. Well, Mo Donegal, I've been betting on that horse, and so I my picks I'll put on there Friday at the latest on the site, and of course Mo Donegal will be in there for me because I've been betting on him already, and I'll probably do an exacta, maybe a trifecta. So
now my long shot, you guys, because I'm going to do this. I'm going to go across the board on Golden Glitter. He's had one race, won that race, and I know that people are going to say, well, it was a fluke, but across the board, shoot, if he comes in second or third, you're still going to make some money.
Sure.
So I like that pick too for a long shot.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Rich Strike does. That'll be good. And again, this is a mile and a half. Distance matters.
He's going to have Sonny Leon on there again,
right?
And he's a great jockey.
Yeah.
So Rich Strike's not a bad pick. I just that the distance is what I don't like.
Exactly right. Exactly. I think Mo might do it this time. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Todd Pletcher.
And where's the people getting the favorite right now? As I haven't gone through my form.
Well, like I said, these morning lines are basically one guy's opinion.
Right, but obviously this horse has done something in the past. I haven't looked him up on the form yet. So.
And then Rodney, we're talking about people that actually bet on these races are not really horse players.
Sure.
We have a lot of money that are just it's part of the Triple Crown. I like the name of it.
Yeah.
And that goes into a lot of it actually.
Right.
But Flavien Prat is not a terrible jockey. That's a very recognizable name, and I'm sure that people are going to be betting that. I really don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe in a trifecta, maybe third.
Right. Well, we've talked about before. It's like these aren't the ones we love to bet on the most, the Triple Crown, but we do it and we get involved and it's fun. But
exactly.
All the other ones that we do during the year are
a little easier.
Well, yeah.
I would say they're a little easier.
It's different. Yeah, it's totally different.
Well, Gator, thank you for your picks. Ronnie, we'll see your picks on the website. And good job, guys.
Thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Gator. Joe, thanks.
Continuing on with football is our expert, Big Richard Martin. And sitting in is Gator Gates. Big Rich, what were the biggest stories in the United States Football League last week?
Well, the biggest story is Philadelphia Stars. They punched their ticket to Canton, Ohio. They beat Braxton Lynch and the Michigan Panthers that are absolutely doing horrible. But we look at how good that the Stars have been playing lately. Won their last 3 games. They've scored 46, 35, and 35. So they're putting some points up. So it's good on the overs because we haven't had an over hit 50 yet. Case Cookus from Northern Arizona is playing terrific. He's filling in for Brian Scott, who is out with a knee injury. He's out for the rest of the year. So after taking over, he's 4-2. And in week 3, he took over, and he's starting to play better. And they actually said they're starting to playing a little bit better. They were up 10-0 in that game, game 3 loss, and the Generals came back to beat them.
Yeah, and Birmingham stayed undefeated. They're 8-0 with a 10-9 victory over New Orleans. What I want to ask first of all is what happened to Houston? Tampa Bay beat the Gamblers 13-3. I know that was on the Peacock Network, so I didn't see it. I got hosed there. What did you see or hear about that?
Well, Tampa Bay, Tamayu, the quarterback there out of Ole Miss, he's just not playing well. So I'm saying stay away from Tampa Bay. They beat the lowly Houston Gamblers, but it was a low-scoring game.
13-3. I mean, the Gamblers were scoring at least until that last game.
Right, and so that's a good thing to pick next week because the Breakers did win. And Tampa Bay did win. We're going to have a game 9. We have winner of that game is probably going to get that 4th and final pick to Canton, Ohio.
I still say keep all the unders going. Until they prove anything different.
And I love the under on that too. Like, we're going to get into that later, but
Right.
Tampa Bay's not playing good, and Breakers have a great defense, and the Breakers beat them 34-3 in week 3. So, yeah, I'm definitely liking the Breakers' chances to get that fourth and final spot.
Right. And the other game, New Jersey beat Pittsburgh 29-18. What surprised me, the teams that clinched the playoff berth just kept trying to win. Maybe it seems like making it to the NFL is more important than saving players for the playoffs.
Oh yeah, no one's going to sit their players down and wait for the finals. I think everybody knows that this league is to try to get a shot at the NFL. So I think even the games most of them, like I said, only one's going to have playoff, precision to get into the playoffs. But I think that they're still going to be great games. I think they're going to see great effort, and they'll be worth the watch and definitely worth the bet.
Right. Rich, your predictions against the spread last week went an astounding 4-1. That's put you at a remarkable 24-13 for the season. What are your selections for this upcoming weekend?
Yeah, I'm at 65% against the spread, so I'm trying to get to the Gator line over here, and I'm glad Gator's sitting in with me. Maybe he'll bring me a couple to get me up 4 points to get up to that Gator line.
I think you're doing fine, Big Richard. You're doing fine.
Okay, well, let's go into next week. Week 9, like we said, the game of the week is going to be New Orleans -3 with the Tampa Bay Bandits. The under's 43. I like the under on that also, so it's a good pick, Gator. I like that. But I like New Orleans to beat them pretty handily.
Yeah, they're an iffy team, aren't they? They're not terrible, but they're not there.
And they usually play pretty good defense. Mm-hmm. So we're going to stick with them. Like we said before, and they beat them 34-3 in week 3. I think the Stallions are going to stomp Houston. They're giving up 12.5. I think Houston's already got their bags packed, got all their gear packed. They're ready to get done with this. So I think the Stallions continue to roll. But one thing to bet, the Stallions have had to come back in every game, man. Like, they're losing at halftime on most of their games. So they do have good. So if you can get a first half bet, you might be able to be good with Houston. But I think Stallions, they'll wear them down, play good defense. With Scooby Wright, taking it.
Well, yeah. The only thing I got is that the Generals. I think that the Generals are going to go all the way. I don't see anybody that's going to even come close to them. Do you?
Well, week 1 the Stallions beat them in week 1, and so since then they've ran off 7 straight. They play great defense. You have Victor. They have a great running game.
That's what I was going to say. Their running game, and again with that sink or swim thing, defense, running defense.
Right. The Stallions do play good defense. They definitely close out the fourth quarter. So I like it too. And I'm going to take New Jersey. I'm going to drop that 7.5 over Michigan. Braxton Lynch, come on, man. What can you say? And then Philadelphia, 8.5 over Pitt. Love Philadelphia. Definitely end the over at 48. So that's 6 picks. I'm going to take 1 under, 1 over, and I'll give you my 4 picks.
There you go.
Wow. I'm basically in agreement, which is probably bad news for you, Big Rich, because my picks were not good last week. They were 1-3. I don't know how you do it, how you make these picks and you keep winning. But there's not much time left in the season, so I'm going to go for it. I agree with you. New Jersey -7.5, and I also like the over 48 against Michigan. New Jersey, like you said, they won 7 in a row. They've covered 5 of those. Michigan is 1-7 and 2-6 against the spread. Michigan has played 5 consecutive over games. Jersey has gone over 3 out of 4. So Jersey and over. I'm going to try Birmingham and Houston under 43.5. That spread looks a little high. 12.5. That scares me a little bit. Last week, Houston, I mean, like you said, they packed the bags, right? 13-3. And Birmingham, they won only 10-9. So I'm just looking at those last week's scores and going 43.5 seems kind of high. I'm agreeing. New Orleans -3.5 and under 44. I'm totally with you. 34-3. That stood out to me. Only one New Orleans game has totaled more than 44 points all year. So they're definitely an under. And totally agree. Again, Philadelphia -8.5 and over 48 against Pittsburgh. Philly, they've covered their last 3. Pittsburgh is 1-7. Philly's only under game all season came the very first week. And Pittsburgh's 3-1 over in their last 4.
Right.
So
you look at these teams, they're starting to build. You got to look at the last 4 games. Not how you start your season, it's how you end your season. Every week, any football coach will tell you we got to get better every week. We have to get better every week. And we've seen the teams get better, and we've seen the point spreads go up because of that. So like you said, 48's the highest I think that they put out yet, and I'm going to take it. I'm going to keep rolling Philadelphia. That's 3 weeks in a row. I hit the over. I'm going to do it again.
I must say, by the time I first saw those spreads Monday afternoon, 5 of the 8 sides and totals had already changed. So if you like something, bet it as early as possible.
Right.
People are watching this, some of them anyway. Some people are watching it because these spreads are moving.
Right. So they have to be betting on them to move it. So
That's right.
And this looks like a very bettable weekend for sure.
On to the NFL. What are the latest stories?
Well, everybody came to camp that said they weren't going to camp. When it came to mandatory, when you want that paycheck, I think there's only one player that didn't show up. Joe?
Well, I got 2 that didn't show up. DK Metcalf in Seattle, Lamar Jackson in Baltimore aren't there.
Right. And Lamar's under that contract where he's representing himself or his mom's representing him as his agent.
Yeah, 1 year left on his rookie contract.
And they have to sign him. I mean, there's no doubt. They got to pay him. I mean, because he's electric when he's out there. Just 2 years ago, he was MVP candidate, and I think he's just an electric player that you have to put on your team, just because your team's not the same without him.
Right. And Aaron Donald got paid.
Oh, did he? He got paid. He's now the highest paid player besides a quarterback, and rightfully so. I mean, he's the most dominant player on the field. When he's out there, if you don't double or triple team him, he's going to wreck your day. So your most expensive person is your quarterback, and he's jumping on him if you don't double or triple team him. So I think that's a good that just the Rams just do everything great, don't they? I mean, they give up the draft picks, and then they pick people up, they pick veterans up and under reasonable contracts, and I mean everything's turned out great for him. McVay's a great coach.
It's great for Aaron Donald. 3 years and $90 million plus, I guess.
Yeah, when he said, I'm good if I retire, I think that scared everybody in that whole area that their whole next run would be over without Aaron Donald. So that's a good way to put your negotiations. Maybe he should be negotiating for Lamar Jackson.
He could.
No, I disagree that they're just one of the best organizations out there. A model. They should,
Right.
You should model your organizations after them.
Yeah, just trade away all your draft picks and pick up
you
veteran players.
You got to be smarter than that.
And you have to pick good lower in the draft, and they
Be a
did.
little wiser than that.
They picked with their second and third rounds and fourth round picks. It came out really great for them.
Exactly.
Well, great segment, Big Rich and Gator. Stepping up to the plate now is our baseball and softball correspondent, Rockin, Ronnie McKinnon. First off, what's the news this week in Major League Baseball?
Well, we have Joe Girardi, the manager of the Phillies. He was dismissed as the manager, and Rob Thompson, actually Girardi's right-hand man, bench coach for years with the Yankees and now with the Phillies, has been put in as the manager. That was Friday. The Phillies won Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They had Monday off, and they won last night. So they've won the first 4 games that Thompson has coached.
Not the old Robbie Thompson that played second base for the San Francisco Giants.
No, not at all.
Another
And
Rob Thompson.
That's right. And this one doesn't have a P in the spelling of Thompson. But, Girardi, he's going to get hired somewhere else. Obviously, I reading about it, it's nice when the players are like, and they liked him, and they were like, hey, you know what? He doesn't play. It's our fault. We haven't been hitting, or we haven't been doing this or making the plays. But that's what happens when a team goes down. The manager usually goes, and he'll probably find a spot somewhere else.
Yeah, and we had another firing this week, I believe.
We did, and a guy that personally I've never liked, Joe Madden, the Angel manager. They did a 12-game losing streak. I mean, they were like, it's 13 now going into tonight, but they were 10 games above 500 at the time. So, and right now they're 3 games below 500. They actually led that division for a while. Now Houston, of course, has taken over, and now the Angels are falling fast, and they were 24-13 in first place on May 15th, and 3-16 since. And so Phil Nevin, who actually had a 12-year major league career, he was the first overall pick in the 1992 draft, actually by the Astros, and he is the first number 1 overall pick to be named as a manager in baseball history. He did do some coaching of the Angels after coaching with the Giants and the Yankees for a while, and he was actually born in Fullerton, California, not too far from Anaheim there, where the Angels play their home games.
I remember him going to Fullerton State.
Correct.
Back in college. So
Right, and Fullerton, they always had some good baseball teams, college baseball teams.
Very, very good teams.
Yep.
Yes. Mike Trout not playing well certainly didn't help Joe Madden and his winning ways. And
Yeah, a little slump for him. He'll be back. He had a slight little injury, not on the injured list or anything, but he's having a great year.
Bad news
we'll see what happens.
Bad news for Angels fans. No team that has lost 13 straight games in a season has ever made the playoffs.
Right. Well, there's still a ways to go. We're basically about 1/3 of the way through. 54 games will be 1/3 of the way through the season. So we have teams anywhere from 53 to 58, 9 games played so far. So we're about 1/3 of the way through. Plenty of time to go. We'll see what happens there. And giving Phil Nevin a chance to be the interim manager right now to replace Joe Madden. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, if Phil Nevin sounds familiar to Northern Nevadans, he coached the Reno Aces from 2014 to 16. So
that's right.
Some local ties there.
That's right.
And it's definitely not a good week to be named Joe and be a manager because you got fired.
Right, exactly. Yeah, Girardi and Madden, and but these things happen, and we'll see. Somebody's got to take the fall, and when you're not doing what you were expected to do, like the Phillies, big payroll, they were expected to do really well, and now we'll see what happens.
So, what other stories caught your eye this week?
Well, baseball. The career leadoff home runs in Major League Baseball. The reason it got brought up is because George Springer hit his 50th the other day. He's now 4th all time, but that brings up the leader, Ricky Henderson.
Well, yeah.
81 leadoff home runs.
Yeah, he was my favorite player.
Yeah.
Being an A's fan.
That's right. And, unfortunately, the A's aren't doing too well.
Well, we don't have to talk about this year right now.
But anyway,
talk about the good old days.
Right, and Ricky Henderson was fun to watch, and, stolen bases and hitting for power and a really good outfielder as well. So,
any other stories?
I think we can move on. I was gonna we have some the ERA leaders I was gonna talk about right now. Both that Cortez for the Yankees 1.50 ERA and Gonsolin for the Dodgers a 1.59. We have 2 7-game winners so far. Carrasco for the New York Mets, and actually Tim Henderson for the Dodgers, he's been a surprise for them, that's for sure.
Well, moving on to predictions. Ronnie, your game predictions last week went an absolutely perfect 7-0.
Yay!
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. That was pretty. That went well. A couple, I think two games picks, and then 5 over-unders, and I hit them all. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, that puts you at a very solid 22-10 this season. Do you have any selections for this week's games prepared yet?
No, I don't have them yet. I will put some on, if not tomorrow, Friday for Saturday games. And just like I was talking earlier about the Belmont, I'll put some picks on there before the race on Saturday. So going through, right now the standings, the Yankees, they had lost a few here and there. Now they're back on fire, 7 in a row. They first team to hit 40 wins. They're 40-15. They actually also lead Major League Baseball in giving up the fewest runs, which was usually is the Dodgers, but now the Yankees are in that lead also. You have Toronto 7 back, Tampa Bay 8 back. Boston's actually above 500 now, and they've won 6 in a row. We go over to the Central, Minnesota. That's going to go on all year. They're only 7 games above 500. The White Sox and Cleveland both a game under, but only 4 games back. I think that's going to be. I think the White Sox are going to, pick it up and get better. I think Cleveland will be there. Minnesota's still tough, but that's going to be a race that's going to go on for as the year goes on. And then we go to the West of Houston, 36-22. Of course, the Angels we talked about, they've lost 13 straight, and They are now 3 games below 500, 9.5 games back. Texas is actually tied with them at 9.5 games back, also 3 games under at 26 and 29. And of course, Seattle, there's a ways to go. They're 6 games below. They were supposed to be better. I think they will come up. Oakland, unfortunately, 17 games below 500. They've lost 7 in a row, and I know you don't like hearing that.
You don't have to mention the A's in the standings for the rest of the season,
right?
Because that's where they're going to end up.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure that's probably the case. We go to the NL, the New York Mets. They now lead in runs scored, and usually that's the Dodgers, but the Mets have now scored 297 runs. They are 38 and 20, 18 games above 500. The Braves are starting to play a little better. They've won 6 straight. Phillies won 5 straight. The Braves, though, are 8 games back. And so that I think those 3 teams are, I think Atlanta and Philadelphia will stay close and I think move even closer as the years goes on to the Mets, even though the Mets have been phenomenal. And that's without DeGrom and Scherzer, So pretty amazing. The Central, kind of like the Central in the AL, Milwaukee, they've lost 4 in a row. They're still 9 games above 500, but St. Louis, 8 games above 500, only a half a game back now. They've been playing well, and I think they will continue to do that and have a very good shot at winning that division. Then we go to the West. The Dodgers still in first, even though they've lost 6 of 8 after losing 5 of 7 at home. They're still 15 games above 500, but yeah, they did go through a 31-game stretch in 30 days. They went 19 and 12, but they're struggling a little right now, and we'll see how that goes. San Diego only a game and a half back. The Giants 5.5 back. So we'll see what happens as the year goes on there.
All right. Moving on to the Women's College Softball World Series. They've reached the finals, and it's going to be between hated conference rivals Oklahoma and Texas. Right. How did we get to this battle?
It's been really fun to watch and exciting. And, of course, last Thursday it started with, and it's gone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, when we had 8 teams. We got down to Monday, we had 4 teams left. UCLA had to beat Oklahoma twice. Oklahoma number 1, UCLA number 5. UCLA won the first game, but then they got run ruled in the second game, 15-0, and so that game was called after 5 innings. UCLA eliminated. Then Texas and Oklahoma State, who actually hadn't lost, Texas beat them twice, 5-0, and then 6-5. So Oklahoma State eliminated. So that's how we got to Texas unranked against number 1 Oklahoma. That first game is tonight at 5:30 our time, and that will be game 2 tomorrow at 4:30 our time, and then if necessary, this is 2 out of 3, best 2 out of 3. If necessary, game 3 would be Friday at 5:30. Again, all Pacific time, our time here on the West Coast.
Yeah, Oklahoma State was up 5-0 against Texas in that last game. They gave up a 3-run home run, a ball that should have been caught, and then Texas scored 3 more in a play that you could see in a Little League game. Oklahoma State threw the ball all around the field on one play, and they gave up 3 runs on that one play and lost.
Yep,
they should be in the final, actually.
Well, those games happen a lot in every sport, and they make errors. And then Texas held them from scoring their last time up when Oklahoma State only had a 1-run deficit. But those things happen in especially in softball. So now that's where we're at, Texas, Oklahoma, and it'll be exciting. Texas has been playing well, and they again unranked, and so
yes, the first team ever unranked to make it to the finals.
And exactly, and it's tonight at 5:30. They're really fun to watch, and we've been following it, and we're right down to the end now, to the World College Series finals.
So Oklahoma had this way of run ruling teams. They did run rule the Bruins 15-0. You mentioned To run rule a team, you have to be leading by 8 runs or more from the 5th inning on.
That's right.
I guess there's a couple other ways you can run rule them too, but
15 after 4 innings, 20 after 3 innings is run ruled. But yeah, that 5 inning one that happens often.
okay. Well, the Sooners' record now is 57-3. Do you want to guess, trivia, how many times they've run ruled a team this season out of those 57 wins?
Yeah, I remember. You asked me earlier. I don't know, and you asked me earlier. I said, 5, and then I forgot when you told me that. Yeah, they play 60-some games during the year. So, what is it, Joe?
40 times they've run ruled a team. This is one of the most dominant teams
unbelievable,
in the history of softball.
Unbelievable.
So, one fun fact about softball: the distance from the rubber to home plate is 46 feet, not 60 feet like in baseball.
That's correct.
The ball actually gets to the batter faster in softball. So
Well, yeah,
these-
I mean, 46
these women
feet, and
are
they
fierce competitors.
watch them, and how fast they throw the ball, and they even throw junk, and it's pretty amazing.
It is game 1 tonight. Does Texas even win a game, let alone the College World Series? I will say Texas did hand Oklahoma one of its 3 losses this season.
That's right. I'm thinking I'm going for Texas, but that's a big ask, and I think they'll have to go 3 games. I really think they're going to win a game at least. So
Well, that would be an upset. Of course, being an Oklahoma fan, I say they sweep Wednesday and Thursday. And finally, we should just mention the Men's College Baseball World Series. We're down to the Super Regionals, which means there are only 16 teams left. Are there any teams we should be watching there?
there are. There's there'll be 4 games Friday, and then 4 Saturday. Also, this is 2 out of 3, so this could go an extra day in both of those, into Sunday and into Monday. Tennessee's number 1. I'm going for Oregon State, who's number 3, and
I did notice Oklahoma made it to the Super Regional. Could it be that Oklahoma could win both national championships? That would be amazing.
I'm not thinking so, but anything can happen.
That would be a huge upset on the men's
Oklahoma,
side.
yeah, their first game is against number 4 Virginia Tech, and Oklahoma wasn't ranked, but yeah, they're in there, so that's fun to watch too. And then the Men's College World Series will actually begin on Friday, June 17th at Charles Schwab Field, and that's in Omaha, Nebraska.
Yep, Omaha every year.
Yep.
Fantastic info, Ronnie. Returning to the show to cover some other sports is Gator Gates. Gator, NASCAR debuted at a new track in Madison, Illinois last Sunday. Describe the action.
Oh man, it was crazy and wild race, Joe. We had plenty of drama. Ross Chastain, Danny Hamlin, and Chase Elliott were towards the middle of the field. Chastain at different times of the race got into both of them, and that caused a lot of on-track retaliation. Now, Ross said, and I quote, "It was terrible driving. It's one thing to do it once. I keep driving into guys, and at this level I have to do better," unquote. Now, it did keep the 60,000 people on their feet as Danny Hamlin kept trying to retaliate. There was a restart with 13 laps remaining, but Kyle Busch drove away from Joey Logano. Then with 5 laps to go, Kevin Harvick crashed, and that left a green-white checker. And on that restart, Logano won the drag race into turn 1, and on turn 3, Kyle got in back of him to take the lead, but on turn 4, Logano went low again and took the lead right back, and that gave him his the checker flag for the second time this year, Joe, and his first one was in Darlington. At 14-1 he won.
Yeah, we've been getting some good prices on these winners in these NASCAR races. And 4 different drivers have 2 wins, and we've had 11 different winners. And now we move on to the road course in Sonoma, California, which is the closest track to where we live here in northern Nevada. Do you have a favorite?
Well, I'm going to go off the grid a little bit here and go with Maasen Cindric. He's at 14-1. Your favorite is Chase Elliott at 9-2, and Kyle Larson's 5-1. But like I said, I'm going to go off the grid a little bit.
Yeah, everyone's going to pick either Kyle Larson or Chase Elliott. Ross Chastain also has won a road course. Kurt Busch is 22-1. He won a road course last year. That's going to be my pick just because of the price.
I like that pick too, Joe. I think that's good.
In Formula One, this Sunday is racing in Azerbaijan. Do you have a pick?
Well, again, in Formula One, you got 2 choices. You got the Red Bull or you got the Ferrari. I'm going to take Charles Leclerc. They haven't won lately, and I think they're due.
All right. So Gator, just wrapping up the French Open, which I found very interesting. Tennis's second major came to a close at Roland Garros Stadium in Paris last weekend. What were the results?
Okay, Joe. Well, I found this pretty boring, actually. Both matches were sweeps. So Rafael Nadal won 6-3, 6-3, 6-0 to win his 14th French title, and Iga Swiatek beat Coco Gauff, which I was happy to see Coco Gauff there, but it was really sad she was crying at the end. But Iga won 6-1, 6-3.
Yeah, we predicted Gauff would meet number one Swiatek in the final, and Swiatek would win. We nailed that. At 18, Gauff became the youngest finalist at a major since Maria Sharapova in 2004. So Swiatek, she's the dominant player.
Yes.
She's won her second French Open. She's riding a 35-match winning streak. Someone definitely to watch. We also picked Rafael Nadal to win on the men's side, which he did. Spaniard beat Alexander Zverev in the semifinals when Zverev rolled his right ankle and tore all three lateral ligaments. That was gruesome.
Yeah, it hurts just hearing it.
Yeah, his foot was totally bent sideways. I don't know if you saw it, but
No, I didn't.
look it up on YouTube. And as you said, Nadal beat Ruud in the finals for his hard-to-believe 14th French Open title. Unbelievable.
22 overall.
Yes. It's too bad you're right. The matches weren't close at the end, but, you know.
It was okay.
Those are the two dominant players. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time for the moments we've all been waiting for. The stories that make us furious about bets that appeared surely to be winners, but in the end something went horribly wrong, and they ended up being losers. It's a segment we affectionately call You Got Hosed.
You got hosed.
So Gator, do you have a You Got Hosed story this week?
Yeah, sure, Joe. Well, we have Thursday, the Boston Celtics were at Golden State Warriors for the first game of the NFL Finals.
NBA?
Or NBA Finals. Thank you, Joe. FanDuel reported that 80% of their ticket sales went on Golden State. But going into the fourth quarter, the Warriors were up by 12 points, 92-80. In that quarter, the Celtics made their first 7 threes and ended up going 9 for 12 behind the arc. Now, Golden State, after scoring 38 in the third, only scored 16 in the fourth. Now, Boston ended up winning the game 120-108 in the game. That saw Steph Curry hitting 6 threes in the opening 12 minutes. And both teams combined for 20 threes by halftime, which is an NBA Finals record. So, Joe, if you had the Golden State Warriors Thursday, you got hosed.
Yeah, those last 6 minutes were totally unbelievable.
Yeah, I agree. Totally unbelievable. Joe, did you get hosed this week?
Well, many Northern Nevadans got hosed last Sunday night. As we kind of mentioned earlier, they attempted to watch Game 2 of the NBA Finals on DirecTV, Dish Network, or on an HD antenna. For some reason, Reno's ABC affiliate, KOLO-TV, Channel 8, didn't function all Sunday long. The whole idea of my getting DirecTV in the first place was because it offers the best sports coverage of all the services. So in the morning, I tried watching the Special Olympics on Channel 8, but ironically, it was KOLO-TV that was handicapped, as that show and every other show through the night, including the NBA Finals, never came on. A lot of Northern Nevadans like me got hosed.
Oh, terrible, horrible.
You got hosed.
Well, thank you for listening, everyone, and we'll have another show next week.
You've been listening to a Covering the Field sports show. Visit us at coveringthefield.com. Email us your comments, questions, and You Got Host stories at coveringthefield@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter at coveringfield. Thank you to our junior IT, Caden Martin. Thanks to our assistant to the editorial staff, Boots McCage. We will see you all next time for another episode of Covering the Field.